This Charlie Kirk tragedy is creating a revolution like we've never seen across the world. Millions were in the streets in London and in Spain and in numerous other European countries. In every ball game in America, there's vigils being held everywhere. We're sick of this crap from the left. I remember like 10 years ago when Trump first came on the scene. I loved him from the very beginning. He was such a relief from the Obama years, which brought terror. I mean, he was establishing black sites of torture, and it was just an entirely different paradigm. And I just loved it when Trump came in. Somebody put a bomb in my mailbox. I was living in a Southern California desert town, liberal town. People were either liberal or they were feminists or the same. All the kids were liberal, taught left-wing politics in the schools. The women were feminists. They were extremely against me. I was conservative. I was for Trump. I mean, you didn't dare say you were for Trump. You could expect violence. And they thought that you deserved it. Well, things are changing now. People are tired of... People were afraid to wear a Trump hat, a MAGA hat. They could be hurt. They could be attacked. Well, things are changing overnight, and I think it's a wonderful thing. I was in a panic during the Obama years and later on over the millions of people coming over the border unvetted. And I couldn't understand why nobody could see it. Because liberals can't see a difference between legal and illegal. They're lawless. I was so relieved when Trump came in, but that formed an immediate division between me and everybody around me. They didn't think like that. They hated Trump. It was eerie living in a liberal town, Southern California, liberal town. Nobody agreed with me. They were either left-wing educated or they were feminist or both. They put a bomb in my mailbox. It exploded because of my religious leanings and love of Trump. You didn't dare mention his name. How things are changing suddenly. All of Southern California was filling up with illegals. And nobody said anything. Nobody thought anything of it until Trump. And when he mentioned it, he was called a fascist and a Nazi and a hater of other cultures. He's not at all. He just wants people to be vetted. We need to know who's coming across. That was a major issue. Boy. And then the religion. I had feminist friends in the desert, and they would say things like, I don't want to be your friend. You're always talking about religion, God. Who's God? I don't even think, how could an educated person believe in something like that? Jesus Christ. Well, I'm going to go over here. I want her friendship, not yours, because she doesn't talk like that. They would put me down for it. It was a very eerie feeling living in a liberal town where there's only a few cops and they were only there for a few hours a day. I was afraid for my life. You didn't dare talk like that because they thought violence was okay. And see, now with the Charlie Kirk thing, people are becoming aware. Yeah, I felt like that too. Yes, this happened to me too. I didn't dare mention Trump in a party. They would all turn against me. And they acted like they were going to hit me. People are beginning to realize that. They didn't dare talk about their religion. People would scorn them and laugh at them because they had been taught to do that in the universities by their professors. These left-wing communist professors that say the stupidest things. I can't believe they have PhDs in tenure. The stupid things that come out of their mouths. And these young kids believe them. This is all going to turn around. There was only like 800 chapters of Turning Point. Now, all of a sudden, 36,000 people are joining. It's all going to turn around. And you liberals are going to have to eat crow. I believe one of my sisters, she was so cruel to me. She just was controlling and she would gossip about me and spread stories, horrible rumors, untrue, nasty things. And I found out that she was all for Bernie Sanders and Warren, Pocahontas. And, you know, I couldn't believe that she could be that naive. She was for communists, socialists. That was a real wake-up call. She was cruel. And she was left-leaning. That was all the things I had to contend with. I was alone with my conservative views for years, surrounded by people in California, Mexifornia, filled with illegal Mexicans. And they were all for it. How come they couldn't see it? And then when Trump came in, everybody hated him for his fascistic views. He was a fascist. He was a dictator. He was a Nazi. He was a Hitler. Why? Why would they say these things? He's a wonderful man, a family man. He loves America. But that's called Hitlerian? Where have they picked up all this? How could they say Charlie Kirk was a hater and hateful? How can this reverse logic happen? Well, indoctrination in the schools. And it's been going on for decades. And their parents have been indoctrinated since the hippies. It started with the hippies. And these are the great-grandkids of the hippies. They don't believe in money. Oh, that money's bad, but they'll come over and mooch on you. Yeah. They don't believe in marriage, but they have several children for different mothers all around the place. Yeah. Yeah. That's California. That was the liberal town I came from. And that was my PhD in the streets. That was my real education after the university. Was being there, surrounded by these people, and being very frightened of them. Suspect who assassinated Charlie Kirk. Look at his eyes. He has an empty look in his eyes. They have emptiness in their eyes. A life without God and thinking crazy things. They've been indoctrinated and brainwashed. Look at their eyes. I think of Mao's China. It was a youth revolution, the communist revolution, and they murdered millions. The youth are very dangerous when they get a bee in their bonnet like that. They killed all the landlords. The landlords were bad. And here the landlords give people a place to live, but you see they're richer than the renters, so they're bad. They're the oppressor. Everything is the oppressor or the oppressed. Not good or bad, just or unjust, but oppressed and oppressor. That's the entire gestalt. That's how they think. It was the youth. And I was plenty afraid of the youth in this small desert town where there were only a few cops. And even they were liberal. Even they would say things like, well, why don't you want him in your house? He's a nice guy. Can you imagine? I didn't even have a right. Leftists don't believe in private property. They don't believe in privacy. You're supposed to let them in no matter what. It was really hard living that way. Boy, it was hard. And feminists were evil. They would spread rumors if you thought differently. The female community is a conformist group. You're supposed to think just like them. And they would just spread terrible rumors and control me that way. Boy, I'm glad that I've been 10 years out of that town. It was my Ph.D. in the streets. It taught me more than a library of books about the liberal mind. Even the churches were liberal. Now you would think a church would be conservative, wouldn't you? No. There's false churches. They're liberal. They don't believe in privacy. Privacy is a constitutional right. The founders knew that. Everybody has a right to privacy, but not in a liberal town. You're antisocial. You're a hater if you won't be with the others, if you want to be alone. That's a sickness. That's called some kind of social anxiety. Social anxiety, if you want to be alone. Are you kidding me? I want to be alone to study and write and pray to God and enjoy nature. And I just love being alone. When somebody else is around, you got to adapt to them. Whenever somebody is in your home, you have to adapt to their personality. I would rather adapt to God. Thank you very much. What is wrong with that? But liberals think that's horrible. The major one value is social. You are supposed to be social. And if you want to be alone, there's something wrong with you. There must be something you want to hide. You want to hide from other people. You need therapy. Wow, I feel sorry for the kids raised like that. Because there are plenty of introverted children who are would-be geniuses. But they have to adapt to the group. The group is liberal. Loud, chaotic, violent, silly group. That's the way they were. I mean, these boys who invaded me were in their 20s, and it was like I was dealing with 10-year-olds. Loud, chaotic, silly, violent, demanding, and entitled. Millions were killed in China by the youth, not by older people. They even turned in their parents. The youth, when they get something in their mind, are very, very violent. Older people don't have the energy to do something like that. Burn down cities and kill millions of people. But the youth do. Look at the Hitler youth. Look at the armies invading Russia in World War II and Poland and killing one village after another, just burning them down, taking people out of their homes, locking them in barns, burning the barn down, burning them alive. Those were young boys. It's dangerous. We're in a very dangerous time. If you think different, you could be killed, and they think you deserve it. And even many Democrats in Congress think that, well, he was talking hate speech. How was he talking hate speech? How was Charlie Kirk talking hate speech? He was a loving person. But see, everything is reversed. In the latter days, good is labeled bad and bad is labeled good. Everything is reversed. So we are in dangerous times. I'm glad I'm behind a locked gate in a safe state, Utah. That's where he was killed. But by and large, I'm in a very safe place because people are into family. We don't even need any policemen here. I don't have yet to see one policeman here. I've been here 10 years. Because people are self-policing in conservative areas. In liberal towns, you need 1 million police and there wouldn't be enough. That's how out of control this whole situation is. Talk about social hypnotism. I said something in my own home. And the guy said, "You think like that? What are you talking about?" And then he went and told a bunch of people. And I went to the grocery store and they were all laughing at me and pointing at me. It's socially hypnotic, the liberal environment. It's all ruled by gossip. They want to get you in trouble. They want to bring you down. They want to get violent. It puts the energy off of them. They're in deep sin. They feel internal shame. The way they get rid of that is scapegoating somebody else. It's constantly like that. People were pointing at me and laughing at me at the grocery store because something I said in my own home, and it traveled through the grapevine. I'd never be there again. Your environment is very important. If you're miserable, it could be because you're in a liberal environment. Get around people who love God, who love family, who are forgiving. If you're in sin, they'll help you out of it, and life will be a lot rosier than in that type of thing. They always come in groups. The leftist logic, the liberal lunacy, is reinforced in groups because it has no logic as an individual, as a free-thinking individual. It's reinforced by groups. That's how social hypnotism works. It instills mental illness. Liberalism is a mental illness, and it's group-oriented. Notice how they always come with their friends. They aren't smart enough to talk just by themselves. They got to have agreement with their friends. It all went together after World War II. Social hypnotism, the social generation, loving your friends, forgetting God. You're supposed to love God first, not second. But it's people. People are good. People are not good. People have to be taught good. That's the importance of teaching your children. They are not good. They tend to go evil. Even Jesus said, "Don't call me good, only God is good." People are not. But if you think like that, you're going to get into a lot of trouble in this life. You got to be shrewd. And they come in groups. And they think, well, the majority thinks like this, so that's how I'm going to think. Gremlins going off a cliff. Now everything will change. With the Charlie Kirk thing, now the group will change. Now it'll be okay not to think like that. They aren't individuals. They're groupists. I remember all through school I felt like I didn't fit in. In graduate school especially, because they were all liberal. University of California, Irvine, totally liberal. I didn't know why. I mean, I didn't see the difference between liberal and conservative in those days. That liberals see things the way they want them to be. Conservatives see them the way they are. And that is such a disjuncture. I didn't fit in with my classmates at all. I drank to fit in. I'd go over to the university saloon and drink wine to try to fit in. And there's no way that I could, because we were totally different at the greatest depths. But I felt that way all through. I remember feeling that way in kindergarten, because they were liberal. They had liberal mothers. I used to go to their homes and they were messy. Women earlier kept very neat homes, but then when women's lib hit, the homes became a bit messy, what you call not quite clean, and I could sense that. I remember t-shirts they wore, F housework. I won't say the word, F housework. And I could sense sort of chaos about them. And the kids were unruly and noisy and chaotic. I didn't fit in. I developed school phobia. I was afraid to go to school. I didn't want to be around my peers. And I felt that way all through high school and college. And just now I understand why. My first husband was 20 years older. I related to older people who were more conservative. I can see why now. And that's the way it just always was. An eerie feeling around people like that. And perhaps you have had that feeling. Perhaps you forced an adaptation to the group through alcohol or drugs. Or prescribed drugs, SRIs, antidepressants. Why are you depressed? Because you're trying to adapt to the herd, which is crazy? Make yourself mentally ill to adapt to a mentally ill group? psychological disease, abnormal behavior is not from within, it's from without. It's from maladapting to your group. And if it's crazy, you will be crazy. You will be going on drugs, and you don't get any help by going to a professional. They just teach you how to adapt better. Maybe they aren't questioning the group. You'd have to question the whole culture. To make you fit in better, they teach you better adaptive techniques or how to deal with your social anxiety. Get to the root of it. Maybe you were just like I was. It was a liberal society, and now things are going to be changing, and people will be happier, and they won't have to go on to psych drugs. I remember sitting by a pool when I was a child, and I was happily just looking around, swimming, and my sister says, "I want you to go talk to that girl over there." And why? I don't even know her. She was teaching me how to be social. That was very important in that day and age. Not to be an individual, to get into your own hobbies and talents, but to be social. Even if you were a scientist, you were taught how to shake hands and go to conventions and be social, as if that was the way in, and it was the way in. More than your individual work was to be social. Boy, I couldn't believe that. I never forgot that. She was trying to make me adapt to this new thing that happened after World War II, that to be social is number one. To love people. That people were good. No, we should separate from people. The Bible says to come out from amongst them. Be ye separate, Jesus said. These are great insights coming up today. Even the churches. I guess I must have been part of a false church. I won't say the name of it. But it was all about social. Not about God so much. But loving your neighbor and going to the potlucks one after another. This woman kept bugging me to go to potlucks. You must go. So to please her, I went. I was bored to death, twiddling my thumbs. Nobody said anything. People are afraid to say anything. And right after that, she started bugging me to go to the next one. I said, there's no pleasing you. I went to this one to please you, and I was bored to death. I'm not going to go again. It was a big fight. They act like that is the most important thing. No, it's not. There is something called Christian mystics who are alone in a cave loving the Lord. You shouldn't be judged on how social you are. Like loving people is a measure of how much you love God? No, it's not. It could be a measure of how crazy you are. You see the social as more important, the hierarchy, who's superior to who. Like hens going for recognition. That's the way it reminded me. There was a clique in the church of the in club and the out club. Who's in, who's not. Who's in favor with the pastor? This is hierarchy. The same hierarchy that I found in the general society that I was trying to escape. One gets a revelation of God, like Paul on the road to Damascus. A total conversion, an explosion in the brain. And he naively joins a church. And it becomes a brick to carry, not a light to guide. And all of a sudden, he's lost all that revelation. Now he's bored and unhappy, and he leaves the church and leaves God. You can't misconstrue it. See the difference. Find a good church that believes in the Bible. A lot of them don't even believe in the Bible anymore. They have another book that they wrote. The Bible says, accept no other books, just this.